Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Nichel Anderson, and I'm the host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond, where today I'm going to be doing my director clip notes. This is for episode 55, entitled, An Akun Brother Speaks Wisdom. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go ahead and start in the beginning of my podcast, where I like to go ahead and highlight that I have my production at MOLIAE.com. That's MOLIAE.com. That's where you can find merchandise regarding my production, t-shirts, like the particular one, I Love Ancient Kemet. Go ahead and check that out. And also sign up for our newsletter. You will see that option. You can put in your email address, and you can be a part of any type of promotions and events that I will be doing. So I definitely ask you to do that. As well, follow us on our, our social media. So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So you can find those handles there right in the description here. So I do actual support for that. I also have my productions where I wrote, produced, and directed some film productions regarding MOLIAE, as well as another film that I did a feature on WDB Boys. You can get all of that, all of my my work on realhouse.org. That's REEL house.org/prestige. So you should find that in the link in the description as well. Do follow us on YouTube. That's where all of these episodes are. You will on my previous season. That's where I was saying the clips notes to get the full one. You have to click that link, and then you can become a patron member. I did close out that particular page. It was just to keep that. Plans to kind of move that to another platform. So I don't know, I might do it to Real House for the full story, but I haven't really decided on that. But at any rate, since now on Podbean, I might just have it on here to get the full clip stories of the ones that I did in my previous season. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. The director clip note has been a while. This is actually episode 55 was released in September. It released last year, the premiere opening of my season 4. I got really busy, y'all. So and I have not done a director clip note for this episode, which was the premiere opening for last year, but we're going to get into it today. So this really was going from the finale of season 3, where you have King Milan meeting up with Enlil, one of the Akun brothers from the Star Cancellation Pleiades. I do highly recommend you go and check that out. That's be episode 54 in May for season 3. So for this particular episode, episode 55, they return. King Milan met up with Enlil at a secret place in Mitsrayim. That's part of the palace. That's episode 54. The episode 55 is where later that day they're at, talking about all of this, what's going on, what happened when King Milan realized that Hani, which is the head general over the secret council of Yukuni and the Orion star constellation, violated the treaty. And by doing that, that's when King Milan realized, okay, they're still messing with the tribes and people on planet Tamat, which is another name from Earth. And King Milan is sitting around, with his high-rank council members and Enlil, and they're talking about all of this. King Milan has one of his high-rank advisors. His name is Tesnar. He is there. And King Milan starts off by saying that they're about to plan another attack, but I feel they fear, how they're going to go about it. And so he was just basically talking that with everyone there, including Enlil. And so Enlil is like a peacemaker, but he's the ones, I guess it's the legends of Subnar, right? Ancient Subnar. And he's there where it gets escalated in a way that it can cause, another battle, right? And make sure that, of course, the resources are there. He has a brother, on his level, and his name goes by Inky. So at any rate, we're in Mitsrayim on episode 55, and Kimalan state that we need to capture Otin. His name resurfaces amongst those that spoke of this Heni of Yukini. So Teshna spoke with concern to King Milan, like what if those still unhidden near the west coast arises with forces to resist our resurface of the region? So what Tesnar was saying, which is again an advisor to King Milan, right, is that even though the last battle, right, took the stand that King Milan not only hold the ground and their territories and came back and healed from his wounds or what have you during the battle or fight, and he's now, still king of Mitsrayim, that there still could be pockets of resistance to the authority of Mitsrayim, because Mitsrayim at that time was at the highest power. And so King Milan spoke that he understands all that, but he basically said, we will still move our forces amongst the rest to force out Otin. Otin pretty much was helping Natu. Natu is an Orion from the star constellation Orion, and underneath Echo, the Echo was underneath Heni. So basically that conversation was going back and forth when Alil finally spoke and said, I know of Heni. He's a long time ago, before the formation of what is now the plateau of Tamat. So that's a very deep statement. He's basically saying Henu was in the beginning when the treaty was formed, before the last treaty, to put in place that they can't just enter this galaxy and do what they want. They have to go through the head-led person, which in that will be whoever is ruling Mitsrayim, and that was King Milan, which they violated that by turning the tribal leaders in the Sudan. Sudan is another name from Africa, that caused this disruption and mistrust. So that happened when Alil said that. And so they continue to kind of find what's their next move, right? Because Heni entered the domain of Tamat, which obviously he was trying to get some of his people back, particularly Echo, right? That was on the mission to be a part of the disruption in the Sudan. So then I fast forward in episode 55, and we're talking about now the Orion sky. So we have Heni is part of the secret council member of Aquino, and also he's basically considered to be a general. And he's talking to all the other members of this secret, this council of secrecy of Aquino, and talking about Echo, because he brought Echo back. He did not want Echo last whatever there, so he brought Echo back. He captured Natu, and in front of one of the Orion council members spoke to him and said, your move, Heni, was not of the leader of this council, but of your own self. I mean, you shouldn't violate the treaty. Never you got to deal with all these other people from Pleiadians that are higher power and resources, and that can cause a ecological type issue just to save your friend. And Heni just spoke that sometimes we must acquire the position of sacrifice, of another, okay? And they get back and forth and so forth and all of that. And so he just leave where he see a growing people that are supporting Natu, which he feel is because of Natu. They didn't, Echo was in this predicament because King Milan found out where Echo was in the mountains, and King Milan basically just kicked his behind and all that. And so that's what happened. And so, Heni just leave the council, whatever, and they're going to have a vote on what's going to happen with Natu. Echo is still severely injured and doesn't really look good on that rapport. And so Heni just ignore the people that was protesting and and sees his Echo wife and goes to her to try to comfort her. So that's basically what happened back after he found Echo and brought Echo back and captured Natu. Because Natu was rising in the south prior to this episode, because he wanted to Echo position. So then we returned back to Mitsrayim, and Lil left to go down south. At this time, King Kohan, that's in my book, Mitsrayim, A Memoir of a Past Life, King Kohan is in that beginning page where when I started the book, I felt that I need to do a preface, or not a preface, but something like a cover type page before you go to chapter 1 in my book, Mitsrayim, a Memoir of a Past Life in Ancient Egypt, which you can get at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If you already purchased the book, I ask again, please leave a positive review and comment or what have you. But nonetheless, so King Kohan comes in as he's the one to make this deal with King Milan regarding their children. That's King Dama and then Princess Amina. Kind of jumping ahead of myself, but I kind of want to touch on that. So, and Lil goes to the south in Zimbabwe, where it's been word that Inky is there, which is his brother in Lil, and at King Kohan Palace. At that time, King Kohan is around, or what have you. Dama is not born yet. He's born during a time where Princess Amina is on the scene. So, at any rate, we go back to Mitsrayim, and we have King Milan talking to his advisors, and he's saying Mitsrayim will stand amongst those that are not in alignment to the Akun rule of authority. We will make it so. So his advisors is talking to him, and what they're going to do. Says, and they'll, left to investigate more what's going on. He suspects it's Inky got his hands all in it, but nonetheless, and King Milan is kind of like, I need a break. There's just always something with them. And us as brothers need to stay together. And he said us as brothers, not really saying that, but referencing that, and follow the rule of authority. And that's regarding to the tribal leaders, right? And with that, he kind of just sees, the retrospect that of Queen Hagar, and he just want to be able to not be so thrown into that constant back and forth, and wanted like this kind of, step away from that. So it kind of ended in that way where he's understanding, and I'll kind of jump ahead of myself. I think that's the next episode where he kind of step away and you see Queen Hagar. I think it's episode 56. But episode 55 is pretty much where Enlil is about to take that trip down to find out what's going on, because Enlil ends it by saying, I feel that Inky is in this somehow, even though the response of Etherlight was that not of him or the knowing. But I know my brother, and he is a master of illusion. So that statement was meant to reflect the higher intellect of the species of the Akune in the star constellation of Pleiades, but also how deep it can go, and how even though on the surface it might just be that they're after this a star, which I haven't explained what that is and why they want it. You just got to stay tuned for that. But nonetheless, to break the treaty of that magnitude, then that means there's other players at play, right? And you have to kind of think of it as always constantly the next person trying to get the most power so they can be able to control and do what they want, okay? So that's where we're at in episode 55. All right, so I am going to wrap up this particular podcast regarding episode 55. I highly recommend you check it out. I did have special guests to read the lines for this episode. I do that occasionally to kind of give you something different. And so I do ask you to see if you're interested in downloading it. And if you like it, go ahead and show that by clicking that like button, right? Or on YouTube, they'll say smash that like button, share it, and check out our merchandise. Our t-shirts that's available is on MOLIAE.com. And I appreciate you and talk to you in the next one. Thank you for your support.